Steroids will attack your heart in 8 ways, yet there's only 3 that will cause the most damage. One clinical study found enhanced guys were packing triple the plaque of natural lifters, even when they felt great and the cholesterol looked normal. So today we're going straight after those 3 big heart destroyers, how to spot them early, shut them down, and even reverse the damage. The first one, plaque formation. The silent clog. Soft fatty gunk builds inside the artery walls long before it blocks blood flow. Rep juice speeds it up. More cholesterol in, less out, stickier walls, and tiny scratches that heal with more gunk. And in a lot of cycle soldiers, plaque is already building up. It's quietly waiting to strike. So this is the damage formula to know. If ApoB is high, more cholesterol is going to be delivered to those artery walls. Inflammation over the range? Well, that's a stickier artery lining, trapping more particles. Chronically high blood pressure leads to tiny arterial injuries that then heal with more plaque. And if HDL is low, less cholesterol is removed. So you can look shredded right up until the moment an artery wall gives way. It's important to then know the top 10 cycle offenders that speed it up by wrecking lipids, blood pressure, and artery health in record time. No one can feel plaque building up, and this is why a calcium score works like your damage meter. It's a quick low radiation CT scan and shows you exactly how much of that hardened plaque that you've built with using steroids. 0 means you've got a clean slate. 1 to 100, that's an early warning. 101 to 400, this shows significant damage, and the cycle strategy should change immediately from today. Anyone over 400 plus, at this point, your next big set could end your career or even your life. Jeez. So when's the best time to check this? Well, a baseline would be needed years before steroid use. Then, every 3 to 5 years if the score is 0 and markers are perfect. And beyond that, every 1 to 2 years if the score is above 0 and markers start slipping. Number 2, blood pressure, the silent strain. Going round with high BP is like lifting with the safety pins removed. Every single rep is putting you closer to a blowout. Anabolics drives blood pressure up a lot, and that's through water retention from aromatization and also mineral balance shifts. That's why it's important to control bloating. It gives you thickened blood from increased red blood count and hematocrit, plus vessel constriction from compounds like tren or even high dose test. Here are the numbers that matter. This number's borderline, which is smart to start addressing, and if you're over 140 systolic, that's a red zone for arterial damage. These are the compounds that hit hardest for high blood pressure. If blood pressure's been up for months, an echocardiogram is going to check if heart muscle's thickening. The third one, blood thickness, which is the hidden pressure. Thickened blood will silently raise clot risk and strain the heart. This happens from elevated red blood count, hematocrit, hemoglobin, from androgens, especially EQ, high test, and anadrol. Also consider dehydration from diuretics, stimulants, or just poor water intake. On top of that, chronic inflammation is going to be locking away iron in storage and can make the body overproduce red blood count to compensate. Now these are going to be our targets for hematocrit, hemoglobin, and ferritin. Tools to control can be a blood donation, but only if ferritin's high. Maybe use red blood count raising compounds later on in the cycle. Intake of hydration and electrolytes must match sweat rate. Inflammation should be controlled and kept under 0.5. And for ancillaries and supplements to help, we'll be getting into that later. Now we know the 3 biggest ways science juice hammers the heart. How does someone keep those doors locked while still running the cycle that they want? And it's not about random health supplements from Amazon. To be successful, each fix must match the mechanism that causes the damage. So blood pressure, plaque, and inflammation. Neutralize all 3, and smart, well-managed cycles without stupid dosages can be run for decades without blowing the engine. Firstly, blood pressure and endothelial protection is needed, because plaque starts when the endothelium, the thick, slick inner skin of your arteries, gets gets roughed up. When you protect it, you slow down plaque before it even has the chance to form. And these elite tools are going to be needed. Telmisartan, enalapril, citrus bergamot, trimethylglycine, injectable L-carnitine, amlodipine, vitamin D3, astragalus root extract. Low vitamin D levels are linked with higher blood pressure, more calcification, and weaker plaque stability. Pair it with K2, and that's going to keep calcium in bones and out of arteries, which is crucial alongside plaque prevention. And when we're going very cycle specific, EQ, anadrol, and even long test cycles are going to have blood pressure creep up. Nandrolone can cause fluid retention, sometimes without the obvious moon face. Even blood pressure that looks fine on paper can be quietly grinding down artery walls, especially if hidden fluid retention from certain compounds is in the mix. So having 120/80 blood pressure with a pulse pressure under 40 isn't just nice, it's the difference between training hard and ending up in a hospital bed. Pressure control slows the start of plaque. The next step then, stopping the actual build-up. So we're going to need some lipid and plaque control. And this isn't about your cholesterol looks fine. It's about particle count and how easily those particles stick to the artery wall. Some compounds load the gun for plaque a lot faster than others. Nandrolone and tren obliterate HDL and crank up the LDL particle numbers. So you've got the worst of both worlds. And even dry compounds like winstrol can crash HDL so hard that ApoB becomes toxic. And that's even if your LDL looks normal. This is why total cholesterol means nothing. You can have a good reading and still be building plaque like crazy. These are our on-screen targets for ApoB, HDL and triglycerides. So now we're looking at lipid and plaque control, and we're going to go up the potency scale, starting with omega-3s and citrus bergamot. Ezetimibe. This cuts ApoB by 20% by blocking cholesterol absorption. Bempedoic acid. This is a statin alternative and will bring ApoB down by 20%. PCSK9 inhibitors. As you can see, they're very extreme, and they will slash ApoB by 60% or more, and even shrink plaque on scans. So at this point, we've locked down blood pressure and locked down particles. So that's 2 doors to the heart slam shut while the juice cruise keeps sailing. But the third one, it's invisible. You can still look shredded, have perfect cholesterol, feel unstoppable, and still be carrying it. So it's smart to know about inflammation and clot prevention. You get your results back, blood pressure's fine, ApoB's good, but high CRP and thick blood can still take you out. And on a cycle, it's often the hidden triggers, like liver stress from orals, chronic gut inflammation, or just running high hematocrit levels for too long. The fix? Lower inflammation, thin the blood, and that's going to have the clots harder to form in the first place. So here are the direct tools that we need. Low dose baby aspirin, nattokinase and curcumin. Try to keep hematocrit below 50% and avoid extra iron unless ferritin is low. And if ferritin and CRP are both high, that's an inflammation trap, not true iron overload, so fix CRP first. These are the key targets in blood work that we look for. But with all this, there is still a hidden threat. Jesus Christ, what else? You can have a perfect ApoB, perfect blood pressure, a clean calcium score, and still be one lift away from disaster. Soft plaque, it doesn't calcify, so your calcium score reads 0, but it's unstable and fragile, so one rupture is all it takes. You're never going to see it on a scan unless it's too late. And that is why the cycle blueprint that you're about to see doesn't just dodge the obvious dangers, it's going to starve the invisible ones too. But it's important not to learn the hard way. Some guys find out what's wrong after it's already happened. So it is smart to catch it when it's still reversible. So this cycle blueprint is built around the 3 big heart levers. The base is going to be testosterone without an aromatase wave at a low dose to keep levels stable so we don't have an aromatase wave. That means steadier E2, less water retention, lower blood pressure and lipids that aren't screaming, we're on cycle. Primobolan is going to be the secondary compound. It's primarily there to manage estrogen. Now nandrolone, that can be great for joints if run at a very low dose. GH is the growth layer. It's going to give recovery, collagen, fat loss, all without the PM glucose spike that's going to make LDL stickier and plaque risk rise. Now, we can have short burst additions that have controlled impacts. Anavar, this is mild on blood pressure, doesn't aromatize, and softer on lipids. Masteron for E2 control, and this does far less damage than Winstrol for HDL. Don't run it with Anadrol or D-Bol or even Winstrol, because this is going to hammer all the heart levers we mentioned, but everything with what you take and the dose is going to be depending on health checks. These are the things to check at baseline before you start, then run them each month. It's not just about surviving an anabolic adventure, it's about emerging sharper, fitter, and harder to stop with a heart that is tuned for the long haul. In any case, if you think you might need some help and guidance in your mission to level up, you can reach out. Below this video, in the description box, there's a link. You hit that link and I'll get back to you as fast as I can. The next video, exactly how to run a cycle beyond 50. Blood work, dosages, timings, and ratios. This is Dr. James, and I'm out.